Today is the biggest day on the coast to coast if you're going all the way to Blakey Ridge. 21 miles and about 4,000 feet of climbing to do. Having said that, most of the climbing is concentrated in the first half of the day as you go along the Cleveland Hills before you get onto the North York Moors. Luckily for me, it was another brilliant day with great views to the north up over the Cleveland Plain. I can imagine this stage being quite different if the weather was against you though. You could see as far north as Middlesbrough, and on this section you just started to get a few glimpses of the North Sea for the first time. Well, it never gets to any great height along this stretch of the Cleveland Hills, but what it does keep doing is going up and down. So actually I think on the day you build up quite an impressive ascent and descent. So basically been going like this for probably the last 10 miles, but whilst it's a 21-mile day, when you get about 2 miles beyond here, the path starts to be old railway tracks on flat moorland, so hopefully I should be able to pick up the speed. This shot gives you an idea of the up and down nature of this bit of the walk. From here there are about 2 more climbs to go before you get up into the relatively flat North York Moors in front of us. Now this is a bit more like it. The first sort of 12.5 miles of today have just been one climb after one descent. I think there's about 5. I think I'll check it when I get back, but I actually think today is the day with the biggest amount of ascent and descenting in the whole of the coast to coast. But now getting up onto the moors themselves, the paths are much more sort of sweeping and level, so I'm hoping I can make better time. Now I think in about 3 miles or 2.5 miles we get onto an old railway bed that takes me to the line in at Barclay Ridge, Blakely Ridge, that's it, Blakely Ridge. If I do make it, that will be another 21-mile day, so all taking us closer to the North Sea at Robin Hood's Bay. So all good, I'll just get a move on now. So only another 7 miles to go to get to the line in. Fairly easy walking, but 7 miles after you've already done 14 is never easy, is it? But it's just broad moorland tracks. I reckon 7 miles with this back on, it's still going to take me 2.5 hours. So I'd like to get there before they stop serving beer, really. I'm not too bothered about the food because I've got dehydrated stuff in my rucksack, and I've grown an affection for dehydrated meals, even though I avoid them like the plague most of the time. So just need to get my head down and get walking. I'll show you what. This is what I'm walking on, which is fairly conducive to making your best time, well, my best time at the moment. And bear in mind I did a 21-miler yesterday as well, so I think it'll still take me quite a while to get to the line in. It was getting to be early evening as I wandered across Farndale Moor. The light was really golden and the moors were full of plovers, grouse and curlews all round. The only downside was that I was getting to be a little bit on the tide side. I finally made it to the line in, another 21 miles done.
great pub, the Line Inn, good food, good beer, a little Fieldian camping, and it even has a tap outside. What more could you ask for? The stage on from Blakey Ridge starts with a bit of a road walk around the head of Rosedale. The route passes this monument called Fat Betty, where people leave offerings of food. Unfortunately, there was nothing there when I had a look.
I don't know if it's going to show on this camera, but there's lots of North Sea out there on the horizon, even the odd ship floating around. Still really 25 miles away from Robin Hood's Bay. Probably not 25 miles as the crow flies, because it does wander around a bit, but still a day and a half's walking left to do. But encouraging signs that I'm getting there, so all good.
The signpost here says 3.5 miles to Glaisdale. This next section is the descent down out of the North York Moors down to the Esk Valley. Once you're beyond Glaisdale, it's a wander down the beautiful wooded Esk Valley to Grosmont. The coast to coast crosses the North York Moors Railway at Grosmont. Obligingly, a train came along just at the right time. It's a steeple pull out of Grosmont. I had intended to camp in the campsite just before the village, but that was closed due to COVID, so ended up camping up on the moors. I was up and about at 5 the next morning, largely because the peg holding up my walking pole that was holding my tent up had come loose in the wind, and the soft peat and the tent had fallen on my head. I thought I might as well get moving, as if I could get to Robin Hood's Bay early enough I could get a bus to Scarborough and possibly get a train home the same day. I love the section from Littlebeck through the nature reserve. Lots of birdsong in the early morning. The only downside was that the cafe at Flooring Foss wasn't open yet. Ironically, the Greystone Hills, which is the last bit of high ground on the coast to coast, was the boggiest bit of the whole trip.
It's about 8:30 in the morning of day 13, which is Monday, the 14th of June, I think, and I've been going about 3.5 hours, because I got up about, when it got light, about 5, and I was while camping on the moors, and it was very, very light, so I just packed up my stuff and went. Added to that, I didn't have any food left, so I'm just pushing on bodily reserves at the moment. Not that I haven't got a few. So about 7 miles in out of a 13-mile stint to get to Robin Hood's Bay.
This last day of the coast to coast wanders around quite a bit, and you're never quite as close to Robin Hood's Bay as the signposts say you are.
Well, as you can probably see, I've reached the North Sea. Another couple of miles to go round to Robin Hood's Bay, but pretty much job done. I need to get some food in Robin Hood's Bay. I only had one cereal bar left this morning, and I ate that about 5 o'clock. Well, it's all got a bit too much for me, so I'm having a bit of a sleep in the sunshine about a mile and a half from Robin Hood's Bay. I'll give it half an hour and then I'll wander down there. Given that I was up at 5 this morning, I could probably do with a bit of shut-eye, but I could also do with some food and a pint, so competing priorities.
The way that the path follows the coast round, you don't see Robin Hood's Bay until you're almost there.
So, at Robin Hood's Bay now, I seem to manage to pick a day when there's a low spring tide, and so the bloody tide's miles out, so I'm going out to dip my feet in the North Sea. I have my St Bees pebble, which I picked up on the beach at St Bees, as is the tradition of walking the coast to coast. So finally made it to the North Sea. Let's go with those seagulls. So there we are. North Sea. St feet momentarily dipped. St Bees pebble. It's gone. Okay, now that's the coast to coast done. Job's a good one.